So good morning, everyone. Hello. It is Wednesday, July 22nd. Isn't it crazy? We are already in July 22nd. Many of you are preparing for busy closing weeks. You're kind of getting ready for the end of the month. Obviously, there's a lot coming up and some different things to do here, but it is July 22nd and we are over halfway through 2020. Today is a fun day for me. I've got several things going on and then several opportunities. I've got so many notes written down in my little notebooks here by my computer. I always take a bunch of notes. This little book. So I'll tell you just because I have my little notebooks. This is my book where I plan like all of our just general Remax notes. This is my little notebook where I'm trying to plan like each day of what we're going to talk about. But today you get the notes from this little book, which is the book that I sit by my bed so that when I wake up with a little inspirational idea, I don't forget and I can write it down. Do any of you have one of these books? They're kind of fun. And sometimes I'll just write down some of the crazy dreams that I have because I get like really crazy dreams sometimes. But not today. Today, as I mentioned, I have kind of a fun day because I was asked by Jane Bowles to, Keith Bowles is watching. He knows what's coming up. I was asked by Jane Bowles to do a session with her mastermind group, which she has, and I think they meet weekly. But then I think they have kind of like a more enhanced session on retirement planning and what it means to kind of prepare your business for retirement and to do some different things there. And so there is a resource that I have a copy of the book in the office. It's called The Golden Handoff. And it was written by a gentleman from Phoenix, and he really kind of helped perfect what I think most all of us know, which is a good system to kind of hand off your business. And one of our best success stories in the office with that was actually Alyssa O'Brien. Many of you may remember Alyssa was a top agent, and she retired in Ashland and handed off her business to Linda Gilpin. And they both committed to doing some specific things and kind of actions along the way to really making that a good, what we would definitely call a successful golden handoff. Now, I've also watched it go the other way. I've watched it happen to where somebody has wanted to transfer their business to someone and it has been a total disaster. And I will tell you in those instances, it's like watching a train wreck. And so if you're not going to listen to me sometimes, maybe you want to listen to the experts, and there's other experts out there because we always want more opinions. And I think more opinions are always better, that we can all glean things from each other. But I thought I would sum up just a couple of the concepts in the book for you today, if it's something that you're thinking about, or if it's something that you want to approach somebody about, because one of the best ways to grow your business is then to try to find someone who might be retiring or thinking about handing their business off. 99% of the agents just say, I'm done, walk away, I've had it. Sometimes I feel like it's tied to like a bad transaction. Sometimes it's tied to a pandemic where you kind of say, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm just out of this. I want to be out of this. And I know Alyssa wouldn't mind if I kind of shared some of her stories, but she was a little bit of the same way. She kind of had it in her mind. This was the year. This was going to be it. And she made a comment to me and she said, I just want to go somewhere where I can just have some fun money for travel, spend a couple of, maybe I make $10,000 a year. Maybe it's not even that. And I don't have to do much. And I was like, Alyssa, listen to what you're saying. If you can hand off this business to someone, you've got a successful business in place, you can easily make that by way of referrals, and you don't have to go get a part-time job at the library. I honestly think she might have been thinking about being a librarian or something, maybe in Ashland, or helping out at the library. So the first thing, just wanted some concepts to think about, is when you're thinking about your business, think about what you have to give and think about what you're going to get. So as a referring agent, if you have 300 people in your database, that's 300 referrals that you're giving to someone. And if you're going to be the adopting agent of this business, what if somebody walked into you and they were giving you, and they came with 300 referral agreements? Would you sign those? Would you sign those? Most of you are going to say yes to that, right? Most of you are going to say yes, that you'd sign those agreements. And I think the other thing is, when you say it that way, you realize then what a big commitment this is if you were to handle and you were to service 300 referrals. So it just can't go to somebody who's not really prepared to handle that type of business. And that, I think, really is where I've seen some mistakes that have been made. And that is the fact that somebody who's thinking about getting out or retiring thinks about bringing on someone new to the team. Thinks about, okay, who's somebody who doesn't have enough business, or who's in the business, or maybe who's brand new to the business or hasn't done this business before, and I will coach them and I will hand it off to them. You need your business serviced in the manner in which you have been servicing it. So your better alternative is to find someone who has a business similar to yours, who is prepared to handle the business that you're going to handle them. And if you think it's going to substantially increase their business, do they run a business that is systematic enough to bring on your business so that it can be serviced in the manner to generate the referrals and the money that you want? And those are some key techniques to that. And, I've got pages and pages of notes on this. But I think the other thing is that a lot of people think of it as a kind of really a false idea that comes out of when you're getting ready to hand over your business, is you think that people are just going to keep calling you. Well, many of you know they don't just keep calling you. If you don't keep in touch with your clients, they don't just keep calling you. It's a process. We know that every day you've got to be focused on prospecting. What are you doing to reach out, to touch your past clients, to generate those referrals that could keep coming back to your business? What are you doing to, provide those touches, those pop buys, those phone calls, those note cards once a year? And so when you stop doing that, you're not just going to get these random phone calls from time to time in the manner of which you want. And so again, how do you keep that going so that you can get that referral income and pass that along? If you stop running your business actively and you start running it passively, then it's not just going to happen. The fourth tip is the adopting agent, they have to do what you do. And so you want to find somebody who has a system in place, who likes to do the things that you do. If you're a social media marketer, then you're going to want somebody, you're going to want to see that they invest in social media the same way you did. If you like to do newsletters and that's your thing, then you want somebody who likes to do newsletters. If you like to do mailings, that you at least have some type of commitment to running your business the same way that you run it. And I think the other thing is you don't have to look for someone who's necessarily retiring to try to find a business. It could be that somebody is having a life challenge or a life change. Maybe they're moving out of state. Maybe there's a spouse that's moving. A good example of this would be Frank Witt. And some of you remember Frank. But Frank's wife worked for US Cellular, and he was a real estate agent in Manhattan, Kansas. And he came to Missouri, and he was a very successful, had a really good earning a gross six-figure business in Columbia for 3 years. And then guess what? His wife got transferred again up to Milwaukee. And so here he was. Well, guess what? He had a database to share and to pass along. So it's not that he was retiring, and it's not that he had, maybe only been in this town for 3 years, but he had resources. Again, he was able to hand off, I think it was in his instance, 50 referrals to someone else then who could kind of service and handle his business. But the key to all of this is, if you don't, and again, pound, 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 once again, pound, 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 this into everybody's heads. If you don't have a database, then two things can't happen. One is you have nothing to turn over. So if your database isn't organized, let's say again, that you don't have any intention on retiring, but that all of a sudden tomorrow, a major world or life change happened, because we know that can happen. If you don't have your database organized to turn that over to someone, you lose that opportunity, and it just totally goes by the wayside. If you don't have a database that is organized and systematic, then you are not a candidate to receive someone else's business. So you've got to treat your business like a business so that you can get more business. Because one of the biggest questions that you want to track with this is, if you are going to hand over your business to someone, is it a viable business? And if there is nothing there that you can track, or you don't have that data on your clients, then it's not. Then at that point, it just becomes what's in your head, and it is totally dependent upon you. So no matter what stage you are in this conversation, thinking, okay, I'm new to the business, I want to be able to receive someone's business, okay, maybe I've been doing this a while, but I now feel like I'm at the stage where I've got good systems in place where I can receive someone else's business. Or maybe you're now at that stage where you're thinking, all right, I'm ready to pass along my business to someone else and have an adopting agent so that I can gain referrals. The key to all of this is the database and the information that you're providing along the way. So that becomes critical. A lot of times people will say they want to go sell their business. It is extraordinarily hard to sell and to appraise a real estate agent's business because, again, it depends upon the database, and it depends upon the data that you're keeping in the database, and it depends upon the market conditions. If a global worldwide pandemic happens in the year that you go to sell it, it kind of totally changes the formulas and changes things. And then can you track your numbers and know your numbers? So one of the best things that you can start to keep tracking with that database is how many people in that database come from repeat and referral business. You can have a $20 million a year real estate business, but if you're not getting repeat and referral clients, then you don't really have a database to sell. You're just regenerating yourself year after year. I worked with an agent in our Tulsa office, and he was amazing at generating business. He had zero systems in place to retain that business. And he was working so much harder than he needed to be because he literally could go out and he could come back with 2 or 3 listings in a day if that was his task. But then he just didn't have the systems in place to keep it. Well, that's not a business that he can pass along to someone because, again, it's completely dependent upon him without any of those systems in place. So those are kind of some tips I wanted to share. I thought tomorrow I'll talk a little bit more about some of the money that can be generated and derived from when you sell your business, and how you can kind of think about that and some different components of it. So this is day 1 of a 2-part series of what retirement looks like. So I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. Tomorrow, in addition to part 2, there are some really exciting things that are happening. I posted Katie Lance is starting a new social media training series with Remax. I posted that in the Facebook group. She is amazing, and she is realistic with real tips. Jamie has mentioned her from time to time and has seen a lot of her classes. So I definitely encourage you to kind of check her out. And then there's also a sustainability summit that is coming up next week, and lots of other education. So stay tuned to the Facebook group. Keep looking on things. We'll keep posting great information. And most of all, get your database organized, get your community in place, right? That's our lesson for today, so that you can outreach to them, share the real estate information, and all of that brings you energy, them energy, and then inspires others to be energetic and to be part of your process, so you can be an agent who can receive the reward of your great business, and also be someone who can receive that because you've proven to be worthy of receiving someone else's business as well. So I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.